Hi, welcome to Rouse Crafts. In today's video, we are going to be making a double gatefold card. Here are the materials needed to make this project. 3 sheets of paper, 2 of them will be cardstock, and my color of choices are a light shade of pink, a sandy beach brown, and 1 vellum sheet, which is in the shade of a light pink. Other materials required are going to be double-sided adhesive tape. Here I'm using 3 different sizes. Ribbon, I'm using a pink ribbon trimmed with silver lining. Flowers, doesn't matter what color, but if you're going to be going with the same color scheme, I would suggest using pink and white. Scissors for the ribbon and the double-sided adhesive tape. And of course, you're going to need a trimmer. Preferably a trimmer that has a cutting blade and a scoring blade. So let's get started. So the first thing we're going to do is we're going to create the base of the card. For that, we're going to need the tan cardstock, measuring at 8.5 by 11. We're going to cut out 2 cards from here. One, which will be the main base of our card, will be cut at 6.5 width and a 5.5 height. So let's go ahead and cut that. To 6.5, which is 6.5 inches. And you're going to go ahead and just trim that. And then our height will be 5.5 or 5.5 inches. And here is our main base card. Now, what we're going to do next to this is to get the card ready, we're also going to score it while we're cutting this. And our score line will be at 4.25 or 4 1/4. And there's our score. Now moving on to the next base of our card, we are going to need just double check. I always double check just because I always feel like I'm doing it wrong. We're going to make sure that we are at 6.5, which is our width, and our height this time will actually be 3 inches. The reason why we're doing 3 inches is because this one will layer on top of our base card to kind of give it more of a nicer look. This one, however, we are going to be scoring at 2.25, or in other words, 2 1/4. So let's go to 2. And there we go, line it up. And we're gonna score. I scored 2 times, maybe more. And there we have our scores. Now let's go ahead and somewhat put it together so you can see what I'm trying to say about having it a double gatefold. Put this away. We are gonna go ahead and fold it. And then go ahead and fold the main one. And what I mean by double gatefold is that we're going to layer this card piece, a smaller piece, inside towards the middle of the card, fold over that piece, and then fold over the other piece. And as you can see, the smaller piece is actually overlapping a little bit on the top one to kind of hold it down so when you put the ribbon, it won't fully open. So let's work on now the pink. I went ahead and cut out the remaining layers of the cards off camera since they're just pretty much squares and rectangles. So let me go ahead and show you them to make sure that you get the exact same measurements. Our first ones that we're going to go is over the first layer, which is using the pink cardstock. This cardstock will be cut at 4 inches width by 2.75 inches height, or 2 3/4 height. My side panel ones are coming in at 2 inches in width by 5.25 height, or 5 3/4 height. And my final, which is the main piece of my card, comes in at 4 inches width by 5.25 height. In other words, 5 1/4 height. Now for the vellum, the main piece of my vellum comes in at 4 inches width by 5.25, Oh, I am so sorry. It comes in at 3.75 width or 3 3/4 width by 5 inches height. My side panelings come in at 1.75 width or 1 3/4 by 5 inches height. And my final piece, which I did 2 of them, will come in at 2 inches width by 2.75 height or 2 3/4. Now let's assemble the card.
Now that we've completed cutting out the layers, what we have to do next is we're going to have to apply tape or double-sided tape to each of your layer pieces. So I went ahead and did that off camera. Now, the only ones you do have to be particular with are going to be the vellum ones. Since vellum is transparent, you will be able to see the tape through once it's laid down. So you need to kind of pretty much place the tape on the vellum where you're going to be covering it. For example, this big piece, it's going to be covered in the middle, so I placed the tape in the middle and you won't be able to see it. Sometimes I do add a little bit of extra tape on it just so that it gives it a little bit more of a secure type, but one strip is fine. As for the other ones, you're going to need little corner pieces, and this is where the flowers are going to be pasted at, so you don't have to worry about them being visible either from there. So let's get started in building this card. Okay, now that we got the main base covered up with the first layer of pink cardstock, what we're going to do is we're going to go ahead and paste the vellum on now, or tape the vellum on now. So let's start with the big piece. Now the inside's a little bit different. We will be using 2 vellum pieces and 1 pink cardstock piece. This cardstock piece will be going inside in the middle, while the 2 vellum pieces will be going on both sides of this cardstock. Now you may be wondering why is it that I'm going to be doing vellum on both inside and outside? It's just to give it a nicer look. So let's go ahead and put this pink piece inside the middle, or inside. Open the flap, align it. Now my edges are never perfect. I always cut them like a quarter shorter, or yeah, a quarter shorter, but they always come out a little bit more crooked, I notice, but I'm getting better as the more I do this. So for the first one, since we're not going to be able to put anything inside this, and this is a flap that will be closing, unless you have stickers or something to cover it up, it's fine to leave the vellum showing exposed with the tape. It just gives it a nice look to it, kind of a complete look instead of having it bare. Now moving on to the final piece, which would be the cover. Working with little squares, always fun. Okay, and you're just gonna, make sure you line up the corners with where you want the flowers to be. All right, and there is our final piece that will be going in the middle, closing the first flap and the final flap. And this is our final design before we start embellishing it with flowers and ribbon. So let me go get my stuff and we'll continue on. Now that we've got the card completed, we're going to add the ribbon and the flowers. First thing you want to do is you want to add the ribbon first, since it will be easier to do this without the flowers on first. So let's go ahead and work on the smallest piece. What we're going to do here is, since this side is going to be filled with flowers, we're going to put the ribbon inside in this little corner right here. So go ahead and cut yourself some ribbon. I kind of always cut it a little bit extra longer just in case, so I could like adjust the bow. So let's go ahead, put it in the corner. I love this ribbon, by the way. This lady in this indoor swami charges like $1 per 10 yards. The thinner ribbon, which I find to be super like affordable. And since she's like down the street from me and way cheaper than Michael's, and it's kind of like a mom and pop shop, I feel much more good about myself than buying it from a box store. Okay, now let's just adjust the bow, make it fine. Okay, I think this bow is perfect. Let me just make sure this edge is facing the right way. Okay, there we go. All right, and then just trim the ends, kind of like adding that angle to it. And I don't feel bad again wasting this much ribbon because again, it's affordable for me. And that is our inside ribbon. Now, great, it folded again. Oh well. I'm gonna move it over just a bit, and the reason why I'm moving it inside instead of having it like at the corner now and changed my mind is because once the card closes, this will be basically on the flap and it's gonna fold with it. So gently slide it over. As you can see, I already double taped on the back side. Sorry, this thing's kind of like a little bit tricky to get through. Just gonna go ahead and slide it. Be very careful with the vellum. I feel like I already bent it. Okay, and there you go. You still have enough space for your sentiment. And once you close this, it'll be perfectly fine and tucked away. Or you could just move it a little bit more, just to avoid that. There you go. Just lay it flat. There you go. And still enough space for your sentiment. Now let's move over to the bigger one. Now for this one, what we're going to be doing is, excuse me, we are now going to glue the flowers on. Since that was one ribbon and the major ribbon is going to be wrapping around both of them, we want to make sure that the flowers are already set in. So what you got to do is pick out your favorite flowers, whatever flowers that may be. I'm using some paper flowers that I bought at Michael's and also at the swap meet. And these little pink ones are the ones from the swap meet, so they're really cute. You're going to get your glue. The reason why I prefer glue over tape on these flowers is because it adds more support. And again, we're going to be going over the taped edges. So go ahead and pour some glue out just to make sure you have a good flow going. You're going to want to put a huge amount of glue. And you're just going to lay your flower on it and let it dry. Move on to the next one. This one's a little bit trickier since I'm going to be bunching up 3 flowers near each other. And then in this case, what I do with the little smaller ones, I go ahead and fill this one up with glue, like so much to the point it starts making a little dome. And you got to be very careful not to drop this on the paper because vellum is not that forgiving with glue. So go ahead and do it with the other one. Make sure there's a good amount there. Grasp it really well and place it next. And now what you're going to do is let that dry, and now you're going to move over to your smaller one. Now this one may become a little bit tricky due to the fact that we put the ribbon in and it's going to want to open up. What I suggest is if you have your tape with you, just hold it down, like put it in the middle once you put the flowers in so it stays even. So again, we're going to do I believe the big flower on this side and create a dome of glue. I am using Mod Podge watered down with a little bit of water just so that it's able to go through this fine point needle tip. And you're going to go ahead and place it down. Now mind you, this letter obviously will not be able to go through the mail because it's just a little bit too 3D dimensional, whatever. 2-dimensional, I should say. Go ahead and place it there. And then you want to hold it down just in case so it doesn't slip and slide. And again, fill up the pink one. Whoa. Whoa, 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 whoa. That is what not to do. Go ahead and place it down. And now, you're going to want to get your tape. Place it there. And now comes the most boring part. Waiting. Okay. Now that it should be done drying, what we're going to do is we're going to flip over the smaller one. I would open it just in case if they're not fully done drying yet. And we're going to remove the double-sided tape. Now, the reason why I decided to put the ribbon over the double-sided tape is for two reasons. One, I feel like it secures this easier, and you could again paste it down because this tape is a little bit like very adhesive, sticky, or like I would say like super strong. And then two, it's just easier and you don't have to like, the ribbon could be moved back and forth just in case if you need to do some changes later on, since, wait, sorry, no, the other way around. Like it pretty much holds the tape down, the ribbon down very well, and you won't have to worry about it moving back and forth. Yep, it was not done drying. Okay, well, while that settles down, let's go ahead and line it up and then place it down. All right, and there you go, you got the first layer down. Next we're going to be working on the ribbon. Let me turn this around so you guys can get a better view. Next we're going to work on the final ribbon that's going to wrap from underneath and wrap in the middle. So lift up the corner, just slide your ribbon down below. Okay, this time we're going to make sure that the ribbon is straight so I don't get no like weird curling action like I did before. And we're going to tie it on this side just so that it holds it down a little bit better. Right, and go ahead and knot this over a small loop. Ooh, if I could get a small loop right. Okay, and then do the small loop on this side too. So now we got two little ears. Oops, come on. Sorry, I should have made it a little bit longer so it would have been easier. You're gonna want to do two small ears, and just like you're tying your shoe, with the two bunny ears, because I know some other people just do one loop and under the rabbit hole it goes or something like that. And then you pull to finish your card. Okay, this one feels a little, this one is not sticking. Okay, you don't want to pull it too tight because again you want your recipient to open it, but there you go. And now you have a ribbon tie, with your card all done and ready to go. Again, just let the flowers dry fully if they need to be a little bit dried more, and there you go. You could also put some little, I don't know, if you want to put wording on the fronts, and that would be perfectly fine too. But that is it. That's the complete card. So thank you guys for watching. I hope you guys stick around, subscribe for later. Make sure to watch or keep an eye on my website, I should say, at RJGcards.com. The link will also be provided below. Until next time, thank you. Bye.